Welcome back. Going ahead with the discussion on brand architecture, let me give you some elements of brand portfolio. These are some of the additional aspects from the point where we stopped last time, and then I will take you towards brand hierarchies. You see, there in strategic terms, brand portfolio is a larger picture, a collection of products under brand. Now, there can be a single brand portfolio strategy, wherein it is also referred to as umbrella branding or branded house or a major brand strategy, which involves using the same brand across diverse offerings. So you somehow know the product which is under one brand, and as simple as that. There would be a specific name to that product, no doubt, but that would be subdued under that umbrella name basically. So, and then there would be several types of related products, for example, within that umbrella brand, and it would be slightly difficult for us to differentiate those products in terms of any mark related to them. We can differentiate them in terms of their size or packaging or quantity, or let us say it is other several ways. But again, the point is here the major name is working. So, single brand strategy is there. Now, for example, Mercedes, Heinz, FedEx, BMW and so on. And companies use a single brand strategy to differentiate the individual offerings by using generic designators rather than brands. So here they do not want to diminish that brand value, that brand power, that largely brand equity which they have established in due course of time. So, for example, Mercedes, they use letters to differentiate the types of or let us say the differentiation between the product as such, for example, GLX or some other way. GLA also is there, and there are some classes associated with as far as their product offerings go. BMW uses also, they also use numbers. GE combines the GE brand with common words such as aviation, healthcare, power, oil and gas and transportation to refer to the individual offerings in their company portfolios. Now, in addition to using same brand name verbatim, a more subtle form of the single brand strategy involves using names with the same origin to highlight the commonality across individual brands. Now, for example, Nestle uses distinct brands derived from its names Nescafe, Nesquik, Nestea, Nespresso and so on. So, again this is a methodology wherein you utilize the and then we have talked about this in linguistics. So you utilize the same origination or let us say the same syllables to use or associate those with the product itself. So Nescafe, we know that it is a coffee from Nestle. Then multi-brand strategy is also there. Now, from single brand to multi-brand, and we are talking of brand portfolio here. So, it is also referred to a house of brands. It involves using separate brands for different offerings. Now, in this case, rather than utilizing the same brand across all of its offerings, a company builds a portfolio of brands such that different offerings are identified by different brands. Now, here is the picture which actually demonstrates what I have just talked about. Multi-brand portfolio, should I call it strategy? Yes, it is, because it is a thoughtful thing basically which Procter & Gamble has done or Unilever's they have done. And look at these, many of these names are more known as compared to some others, but then they are distinct, they resonate with a distinction in terms of what products they represent and how they are known, what kind of emotions they evoke and so on. We have talked about all those things when we discussed marketing program for brand equity development or brand elements and brand value chain and brand resonance pyramid and so on. So, So, and then keep looking for these kind of things on the web and different sources. Now, let me take you to brand hierarchies. A brand hierarchy is a useful means of graphically portraying a firm's branding strategy by displaying the number and the nature of common and distinctive brand elements across the firm's products, revealing their explicit ordering. You will just realize what I am talking of when I will show you a structure. It is based on the realization that we can brand a product in different ways depending on how many new and existing brand elements we use and how we combine them for any one product. One must remember here, we are talking of brand architecture strategies, we have just talked about portfolios, and we are going towards hierarchies, and we are wondering on that, for example, there is a symbol, there is a character, there is a jingle, there is a tagline, obviously a name. All these elements are associated with one product, one brand. Which of these should be carried forward in terms of another product, and not to wonder that it may be related or unrelated. So, that is where brand hierarchies come in. Now, look at this. Walt Disney has ESPN brand hierarchy, and it represents computer products, it represents print, the print media, and then online, television, interactive mode, and other media as well. So ESPN we all know, and if you just look at consumer products, for example. So, ESPN shop online, ESPN video games, ESPN music, ESPN books. Now, ESPN as a brand element and the other element of books, for example. So, that is where hierarchy comes in. And on the other side, for example, you choose to look for other media. So, ESPN radio is there, ESPN mobile is there, ESPN Rise is there, and so on. And then that is where the hierarchical structure comes in. The objective is to think in terms of, you understand what kind of a brand power your brand is enjoying at this moment, and you are sitting along with the key people, or let us say you have talked to almost everyone, all the stakeholders, your employees, your customers, you are continuously in touch with them. We have already talked about brand research methodologies, and I will be talking about valuations and evaluation later on. But you have that insight from all the sides in your mind. Now you are about to take a decision on, should I be actually dissociating this name from anything which I am going for the next? Should I be carrying forward this name along with some distinction? Should I be carrying forward this name verbatim to any product I go for, just saying that this is the product which belongs to the same name? Now this is a scale which I am moving on in my mind, depending on the basis of all the research which has gone into, all the power which I understand about my brand, all the valuation which I have in front of me, and everything which we have tried to understand in due course of time. So, that is where this hierarchy perspective comes in, and rest is a story which strengthens this argument that there are different ways to define brand elements and levels of hierarchy, wherein perhaps the simplest representation from top to bottom might be corporate or company brand. For example, General Motors, in that case it was ESPN, family brand is Buick, and then individual brand is Regal, modifier is designated item or model, let us say GS, and product description is mid-size, luxury, sports sedan, automobile. So, that is how things are in terms of as far as brand hierarchy goes, and the objective is differentiating while capitalizing upon the brand strength and the brand power. Then there are guidelines for brand hierarchy decisions. Decide on which products are to be introduced. Now, principle of growth is invest in market penetration or acceptance, or expansion versus product development according to ROI opportunities. Now, there is an example, and a wonderful example, wherein Cisco decided to bet big on new internet video products. Cisco launched telepresence technology to permit high definition video conferencing for its corporate customers, and is infusing its entire product line with greater video capabilities through its MediaNet architecture. WebEx is popular now, and especially during this difficult time when everyone required that kind of a connectivity and capability. So, WebEx definitely gained ground. Others also did that. Google Meet is there, and then Zoom is there, and several others are there. So, but WebEx also did well. But somehow Cisco was actually trying to visualize this product and thinking in terms of capitalizing upon their brand strength for this product as well, and that is what we are trying to understand here. Now, principle of survival is brand extensions must achieve brand equity in their categories. Brand extensions should enhance the equity of the parent brand, that is the principle of synergy. Now, decide on the numbers of levels, principle of simplicity, principle of clarity. Now, simplicity we all know, but clarity is associated with logic and relationship. All brand elements employed must be obvious and transparent. Deep association, integration. Now, for example, a complex set of products such as cars, computers or others, products are not complex, it is a complex set. Computers or other durable goods require more levels of hierarchy. For example, Sony has family brand names such as Cybershot for its cameras, Bravia for its TVs, and Handycams for its camcorders. Handycams definitely are popular, others are also. Now, decide on the levels of awareness and types of associations to be created at each level. Now, there is a principle of relevance. Create abstract associations that are relevant across as many individual items as possible. Now, for example, Nike's slogan "Just Do It" reinforces a key point of difference for the brand performance that is relevant to virtually every product it sells. That is precisely the point. Slogan is carried forward in all the products they are offering, and that is where brand hierarchy comes in. That is how it is related to brand architecture. When they thought of "Just Do It," when it came into being, when that swoosh came into being, they actually thought that they would be utilizing it for all their product offerings, and that is where the mindset intelligence of a designer comes in. There would have been several people intelligently being involved in such kind of a process obviously, but they were thinking that way. That is precisely the point, and that is why we are trying to understand everything in terms of brand architecture. Principle of differentiation is there, and differentiation is the key word which I have been referring to many times. Now, decide on how to link brands for different levels for a product. There is a principle of prominence. The relative prominence of brand elements affects perceptions of product distance and the type of image created for new products. Now, Kellogg adopts a sub-brand strategy that combines the corporate name with individual cereal brands. For instance, Kellogg's Cornflakes, Kellogg's Special K. Through its sub-branding strategy and marketing activities, Kellogg should be effective as a result in creating favorable associations to corporate names. Here I would digress for a few seconds, suggesting that while we are thinking in terms of brand hierarchies, while we are actually thinking with a perspective of being an architect, imagining portfolio, imagining hierarchies, we must remember one thing: it may go anyway, it may work for us, it may not, but the point here is, if we are sure of the brand equity which the brand has generated for itself till then, or would generate after a particular stage, if we somehow analyze that, should I say calculate that, would be appropriate to an extent, but then should understand that, that is the most important term, that if the brand manager understands this, that what kind of equity the brand would generate, then the whole architecture strategy, brand architecture strategy would come into play or would crystallize. That is where brand potential would come in, and I will be talking about that. Decide on how to link brand across products. You have one name which works for everything you sell. That is the most desirable situation, wherein people do not ask what you sell, and that is where we are talking of principle of commonality. The more common elements products share, the stronger the linkages. Donald's has used its Mac prefix to introduce a number of products such as chicken McNuggets, egg McMuffin, and McRib sandwich, and so on. Aloo tikki, it's one of my favorites, aloo tikki. So now you see, let's look at this chart once again, and I am summarizing the perspective of hierarchy here, and I would not be deciphering it anymore, but I just want you to remember that this is how this whole thing can be visualized in terms of hierarchies as well. Volkswagen once again, and then just this chart very briefly. So you may imagine that we started our journey with developing an understanding on brand architecture, talked about developing brand architecture strategy, brand portfolio, brand hierarchies, and now I would be taking you towards corporate branding. You see, the highest level of hierarchy technically always consists of one brand, the corporate or the company brand, and that is what we are trying to talk about in for past few seconds. Corporate brand equity is the differential response by consumers, customers, employees, other firms, or any relevant constituency to the words, actions, communications, products or services provided by an identified corporate brand entity. Name any: Infosys, Tata's, Bata, Birla, SBI, Accenture, Amul, Patanjali, any, and multinationals or brands from abroad, any you like, General Electrics, Hewlett Packard, HP. The corporate brand is virtually the only brand at large. You see, that is where the corporate branding perspective is, and it is the dream of every organization. Google, it's a product brand, it's a service brand, it's a Google, it's a corporate brand, and having a good high value. Cisco, we have just talked about, Microsoft. So you see, there are several brands which have done exceptionally well in terms of developing their corporate branding, and that is what, after a particular stage, you would realize, believe me, that a product somehow should lead an organization towards representing the organization in terms of the name of the organization itself, the corporate branding, because product is the reflection of the organization's vision. We have talked about that. So we can think of corporate image as consumer associations to the company or corporation making the product or providing the service. And some important corporate image associations are common product attributes, benefits or attitudes in terms of quality and innovativeness. I would be talking about 3M very soon, and this you will see. People and relationships, that is customer orientation, values and programs, concern with environment, social responsibility, and corporate credibility, expertise, trustworthiness, likability. Name should say it all, and you do not want to think of anything else. If it is trustworthy, likable, and you rely upon their abilities, capability. So they may come up with any product, any service, and you would say that they would be excellent. Look at this, all the organizations in Tata Group, and most of the consumers you talk about, and there are several other such organizations, but in their case most of the consumers you talk about, you talk to them, their employees, their stakeholders, they enjoy or experience that strength which the name emanates for them. It has been generated in due course of time. For a very, very long time they have been working on this. They have been consistent on developing this, this brand strength and equity which they are enjoying at this moment. But that is precisely the point. When you put up Tata with anything, it emanates trust. They have a global presence. Let me slightly elaborate upon this, because this is what we are seeking in due course of time. So they have a global presence, 29 plus countries, and including India, China, UK, Portugal, Myanmar, and I think Philippines probably not there, Indonesia, South Africa, Zambia, Senegal, and so on. And then the map exemplifies how an Indian organization. So I was talking about the Tata brand, and carrying forward we look at their global presence. So many countries they are present in, especially prominently in 29 plus countries as the current description given by the source we have mentioned in the slide. Now just look at some statistics, and then this is where the capitalization of brand equity comes in. This actually represents what a brand yields, what is the outcome actually, and that is the whole story we are talking of, because we are thinking we are always talking about equity, the value which the brand would generate. So you see, it's a huge revenue. It's $106 billion. Now you just convert into crores, then it would be huge, and then you just convert into rupees and you would realize what I am talking about. And it is not that they have large number of organizations, that is why it is. Every organization is excelling, they have a particular kind of a market share, and we have talked about market performance, you remember. So, and then it is an approx 60% from businesses outside India now. And that is precisely the point I was trying to make when I showed you that global picture of 29 plus countries where they are present, because an Indian organization which initiated its journey in late parts of the let us say 1800 something, I am not exactly sure of the year, but you can look into their website. That means almost 140, 145 years back I am talking of. That is where they started their journey, and from there they started moving ahead, and now they have become a truly global organization. That is where brand architecture perspective comes in. Jamshedji actually thought of it that way, and if you will look into their history, the literature, the videos, you would realize that. Now they are they were named as 11th among the world's most reputable companies by Reputation Institute US in 2009. Definitely this is slightly older data, but if you will go the current data, if it is there in relation to this aspect, reputation would have definitely increased. Now they are the only Indian brand in top 100 of the Brand Finance Global 500. Brand Finance is an organization which evaluates brands. I will be talking about it in let us say one session from now. And you see, then it is 2020, 750,000 employees across and many more associated with them, 10 business clusters, operations in more than 100 countries, 29 countries. They have specific prominent presence. So operations, wherein they have partners, associations, and so on. So it's around 100 countries, and this data may vary. You may cross check it from different sources, but the point is that they are truly a global organization at this moment. 2/3 of the equity of Tata Sons, the promoter holding company held by philanthropic trust. Now this is again an aspect which is associated with the vision, doing good for the society, and that has been resonating with Tata brand, and how customers and their stakeholders, they decipher this name, they feel about this name. That is precisely the point. And if you will try to, and I have been telling you and advising you about whatever kinds of structures we have talked about, you just put those structures on a piece of paper together, or let us say just from the video itself, you just take up the slides, put up those slides together and just put one example across those, and you would realize that is where branding and brand management comes in. Rest is mathematics. Now then their values are associated with pioneering, that is being first, integrity, excellence, unity and responsibility, and they reflect in J.R.D. Tata's statement for value that what comes from the people should go back to the people many times over. He said it long back, and that has almost been a mantra of this organization. The values exert influence in three ways. First, they influence strategy, including brand strategy at both the group and the independent company levels. That is actually evident in the operation levels as well. Second, they influence individual actions and behaviors. Third, the values also directly influence stakeholder perceptions. And this is where the brand value is $21.28 billion at this moment in 2021. I'm not sure at this moment, but during 2021. So, and let us talk about 3M, again one of my favorite examples, a brand known for innovation. 3M has fostered a culture of innovation and improvisation from its very beginnings. In 1904, the company's directors, they faced a mining operation which did not turn out to be very successful, but they turned the leftover grit and waste into a revolutionary new product, sandpaper. Since that time, 3M resonates with innovation, and that is where their corporate branding actually, they enjoy that kind of an equity, and then all their customers, they expect innovative products from 3M and they are living up to that. So today 3M makes more than 50,000 products, and that is precisely the point. Scotch Brite is one of my favorites actually, including adhesives, contact lenses and optical films and so on, several kinds of products. And over the last century, some of its noteworthy product launches include Scotch masking, transparent tapes, Scotch Guard, Scotch tape, remember these names? Scotch Guard fabric protector and post-it notes, several products which have become the parts of our lives. We always have them around us. Probably we forget that they belong to 3M, but that is what branding is. Wherever we go, we find their products, we purchase those products sometimes without asking or saying their name, but that is how the whole situation comes in. And at this moment, you would be again remembering that grid on associated with product and brand, that product and brand matrix. That is precisely the point we are trying to make here. Now, the firm is able to consistently produce innovations in part because it promotes a corporate environment that facilitates new discoveries. 3M encourages everyone, not just engineers, to become product champions. Now that is their culture, and that is how employees and stakeholders, they get associated with as far as developing brand equity or structuring brand architecture constitutes that. And we are talking of potential here. The company's 15% time lets all employees spend up to 15% of their time working on projects of personal interest, and 3M hands golden step awards each year to venture teams whose new products earn more than $2 million in US sales or $4 million in worldwide sales within 3 years of commercial introduction. And here I just remember there are many organizations, but I remember this about Tata's. They award people even if they are not successful. They want people to try. Many organizations do that. Now, 3M is very selective about acquisitions, seeing them as only supplementary to organic growth and internal innovations and developments. Starting in 2010, 3M has introduced social networks into innovation process, inviting 75,000 global employees and more than 1200 other people to participate in annual markets of the future brainstorming session. They utilize a cumulative intelligence. Otherwise, you cannot produce 50,000 products and convert them into brands. That is precisely the point actually. Some of the innovations that 3M focused in 2017 include utilizing information and communications technologies to foster innovation, economic growth and progress, helping Western Europe achieve the Industry 4.0 plan. Once again, look at this chart of Volkswagen. And now you look at it with the perspective of corporate branding. This completes our discussion on brand architecture, and just for a while, just for 30 seconds, look at this chart of brand architecture. We talked about developing a brand architecture strategy, brand portfolio, brand hierarchies, now corporate branding, which is one of the most desired outcomes of our branding exercise or branding thought process or branding architecture. I will be coming back to you with lots of insights on how organizations or different valuators, they evaluate brands. That would be an interesting discussion, slightly on the side of accounting, although I would not be deciphering accounting principles associated with that. I will be just naming those, but to tell you that at the end we want to value the brands, we want to develop the equity which actually emanates value and is beneficial for one and all. I will be coming back to you. Till then, goodbye.